On the afternoon of November 7th, Jared Mills heads for a clover plot, one he knows to be a doe feeding area. It is a likely location to catch up with a cruising buck this time of year.
Alright, we are set up for the afternoon hunt. We're getting in a little later than what would be ideal, especially on November 7th, but we're settled. A spot that I haven't hunted in probably a couple years. It's just a bottom. There's a creek not too far off, so there's a lot of like bottom wetland grass. And then we're backed up against this really thick section of oak trees and cypress trees, and I mean, it's just a wall. You can't really see back in there. We've already seen 4 bucks. And while we were getting set up, saw a doe out here. I didn't know where she came from. Looked behind her. There's a big, heavy, mature 9, I think he was. And I want to say I've maybe seen him earlier in the year. He's a good-looking deer. He walked by at like 38 yards following that doe, and they disappeared for a while, and pretty soon they came running back in. He was just kind of trying to corral her, it looked like. We've had multiple bucks follow the same trail, nose down, right over here, and they moved through so quick. I'm not even sure what all we've got for footage, but this is what November 7th is supposed to look like. Much better than the morning hunt. So like I said, it's about 4 o'clock right now. Hopefully the rest of the evening continues on that path. It's been a good start so far. So definitely a buck, and it's decent. And a straight line with her way back at the trees.
120 miles to the southwest, Owen Riegler is also sitting over a green field, hoping to catch one of his target bucks on his feet.
Well guys, here we are back at it, November 7th. I got myself a little bit of a chest cold going, a pretty good one actually, but I figured November 7th I'm going to have to be deceased if I'm not in the tree. 7th through the 10th, or 11th, and can't miss those days for nothing. But we got a strong south wind, probably 15 to 20 right now. Supposed to lay down to about 10 toward evening. I kept debating most of the day whether we wanted to set corn or set green. I was gonna set it's about 100 yards that direction over corn. We've got another set right there, but with these temperatures it's warmed up to almost 70. I finally decided on green, so the game plan is to be wherever the most does are for this time of year, so we should have some does feed into this. We're after that wide 8. This is where he spends a lot of time, so hopefully we'll be in the game on him. Let's sit in here a few hours and see how it goes. Man, that got fun in a hurry. We had 4 does come out. I told Joe, I said, that's what we need right there. We need some does out here. Shortly after that, a yearling buck came out and kind of nudged him around. Then we had, looked like maybe a 3-year-old kind of busted up. And so they kind of worked around. He messed with those does, and then I guess the next one out was that big 4-year-old. We heard him grunting in the field, and he started chasing those does. And that called in this other tall, like that tall, narrow 8-point. He come running across the creek over here. He was all posturing up at that other buck. He wanted to fight him, but then that big 4-year-old came over. He was snort wheezing and carrying on, but he didn't want to take the fight on short notice, I guess. I wanted to see that battle. But that escalated quickly, turned into a sweet hunt. That's what it's like this time of year if you can get some does. We'll be back at it in the morning. See you guys then.
As Owen begins his journey home for the evening, Jared's hunt is headed in the right direction with the help of another doe.
His doe's right there. He's coming like this. See his doe? He's coming on the left. Look, right here, right here, right here. That doe is panting like crazy. That's a mature deer. I think, isn't he? His face is black. I got this window standing right here by us. That's a good deer, dude.
Shooter?
It might. I know what deer that is. I have pictures of him. He's very borderline.
Yes, it already
See what he's gonna do. If he starts to cross the path, I'm gonna grunt at him. Definitely heard it. Yeah. Should I try hitting the antlers together? Yeah.
jogging.
Away?
Yeah. He's looking. He's coming in. He's coming in. Jerry's coming in. He's running in. Like full run, full run. Straight out. See him? Yeah, I know what deer that is. Are you gonna shoot at him? No. Why? Just...
down to our last few minutes, but man, what an awesome evening to be in a tree stand. This is a rut in Iowa, November 7th. A stark contrast from our hunt this morning, but this was what we've been waiting for. It's so fun when you have these evenings like this and they're acting right. The bucks are fired up, they're running around everywhere, chasing does, fighting each other off. And it just doesn't get any better than this. You know, obviously, a tough pass on that 10 that we ended up rattling in, passed him right here, and he came back by right to the base of our tree about 15 minutes later and passed him again. I wasn't 100% sure what deer it was or if I wanted to shoot him, so I got him in here for a better look, and he's a really good looking deer. He appears to maybe be a 4-year-old, but either way I know there's at least one bigger, more mature deer out here that I'm targeting. And for me, I just really like that challenge. It's not all about the kill for me, so I enjoy that just as much as killing them, being able to call them in the bow range and watch them put on a show. That was pretty awesome. We're gonna sit out these last few minutes and try to sneak out of here and make a game plan for the morning, but if you're not getting time in the tree right now, I highly suggest you do, because at least right here, it seems to be on. This is what we wait all year for.
Also out on the evening of the 7th, Ty Kehoe and his brother Brooks are set up in the Iowa hardwoods, hoping to make some November magic of their own.
Bip! Bip!
No. Do you have it ranged?
Yeah.
I don't have it.
Sure.
Alright, I got it. Whoa, stop. Oh, dang, he shot under him. It's okay.
It's farther than... Are you sure?
Yeah. One more time. Don't move. Do it again. Don't move.
Although the buck had little idea how closely he cheated death, the remainder of his evening's chase would not again bring him into bow range. A single limb between Ty and the love-struck buck was the difference between a sick stomach and an incredible harvest. The following morning, November 8th, Owen Riegler is getting settled into a prime location while enjoying another sunrise.
Well, I've been excited about hunting this stand since we hung it about 3 or 4 days ago. It's the morning of November 8th, and we're supposed to have a west wind coming in at 6 o'clock this morning. You know, it had been out of the south, and it was supposed to go to west, and then northwest, and then north as the morning progressed, but of course it's still out of the south, which is not what we want. But the good news is this spot that can come from about any direction. I think northwest sets up the best, of course, where the trails are. We're after that Wolverine buck, and he does not have a doe, so we could be in the game on him. Had some pictures of him not that far from here in the middle of the night last night, so be fun to call from this spot. Once that wind switches, we'll hit the antlers and see what happens. is that a pretty old buck? Watch out for him in another year. That's gonna be a big one. Although it looked like he needed a nap while he was scraping there. I didn't know if he was gonna be able to finish his pawing action. He was like slow motion. He's had a long night, boys. Remember when you were 20 and you used to go to the bar that next morning? That's him.
The drowsy, scraping 4-year-old would be the highlight of Owen's morning, bringing the age-old question, where do I sit this afternoon? Despite the sporadic movements of the Wolverine buck, Owen is confident that he will eventually catch up with him. 130 miles to the northeast, following an encouraging encounter the previous evening, Mike Reed is once again heading back after chubs.
That says west and north, correct? West and north. That's what it looks like to me. And then when you scroll down right here, it says south. So it says 3 different things. What's Monday, November 8th? I got out of work at 2:30. Then we ran out to the home farm and hung this set. We're on the ridge top where I think Chubbs fed out last night, or headed out last night. Got this turnip plot up here. We've already had 2 does come by. We've got one in the food plot right now. Light northwest wind, 65 degrees. We'll see if Chubbs repeats what he did last night. He headed this way. We got in there quiet, set up, didn't spook anything, so we'll see how she goes. Oh, that's patient X, I think. It's a patient X.
Although Chubbs does not make an appearance, Mike encounters a familiar face, Patient X, the buck that his oldest daughter Bella has her heart set on harvesting. The beautiful sunset laid to rest another day of hunting the ever-elusive Chubbs. Also battling the finicky winds of the afternoon, Owen Riegler makes his way to a blind for the afternoon hunt.
So guys, weather.com has been saying northeast wind all day, and it's been out of the south all day, so we started in here and I just noticed the wind's out of the south, so I'm like, we're gonna have to make a move. Instead of going to the cottonwood that I wanted to hunt, we got to go back to the hornet's nest, which we've had some pretty slow hunts there, but I just told Joe kind of jokingly, I said, just because we've had 6 slow hunts don't mean we'll have 7. Hopefully not. Let's get in there.
A 120 miles to the northeast, Max Mongrello is in a brand new stand location, sitting over a decoy, looking to capitalize on a newly acquired permission farm.
Alright guys, it's the afternoon of November the 8th. If I lean out too far, this tree may go down with us. I'm just kidding, but it is a very small tree in a brand new spot. The tree that we had the snortweeze buck with the decoy encounter is about 200 yards back up this way, and where a bunch of those does that came from that he chased off after he came into that snortweeze come from this big block of timber right over here to our west. So we figured we'd like to get a little bit closer. We know that that block back to the east is not a very big chunk, and so with more acreage to the west to work with, we decided, heck, let's try this little spot right here. This is a little ditch that runs right into that. It's almost a finger that runs into that big block. And this is that cut bean field we've been talking about, but I've said before that it has a ton of standing beans, and especially right here on this edge we're sitting in. It almost looks like at least a pass or two was missed. Just beans everywhere, so we'll see what happens. We're kind of excited. This is a more uncomfortable sit than you'd like, but it's one of those ones that you just never know may work out. He's like a 2-year-old or 3-year-old. Yeah, he's like a 2-year-old. Dude, that might be a shooter. That might be a shooter. He's like border. Oh, dude, that's a shooter. That's a for sure shooter. Yeah. Watch those does though. That deer is a stud. He's a 6x5, I think. I think he's got 6 on his right. Well, that just got really exciting really fast. I rattled and nothing happened for probably 10 minutes, 15 minutes even. Then over the hill in front of us came this 2 or 3-year-old, whatever he is, with a pretty bad limp. He comes in to investigate. He never pinned his ears or never really acted aggressive, but he definitely was coming in to check that out. Got in and around the decoy and decided that he didn't want any part of it. As we were watching him, I looked up on the hill and there's 3 does skylined. Sure enough, mature buck encounter number, who knows now. From what I can tell, just from quickly glassing him, looked like he's a 6x5. Just a giant frame deer, looks like a stud. But he was preoccupied with those does. Once he got over the hill, we tried rattling one more time, but he didn't bother to come check it out. That young deer came back again, so cool to see him, but man, you just feel so helpless when they got does and really no reason to be over here. He could care less about the decoy, so we're about out of camera light here. I can see deer working in all around us. I don't know how we're gonna get out of here, but we're gonna get down, pull this stuff out of here, and we're gonna try a new spot in the morning, but we're just starting to figure this place out little by little.
Back on Owen's clover plot, the deer are beginning to pile out of the cover.
Well, boys, that's hunting. At least we got to see him, but just didn't come in and offer a shot. He's with that doe there. Could have happened, but coulda, woulda, shoulda. why they call it hunting, not killing. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll give it another shot.
100 miles to the southeast in Missouri, Aidan Epperson and his brother Avery grab a decoy and head to a partially cut cornfield where a local farmer suggested they would find action.
Welcome to Midwest Whitetail. It's the evening of November 8th, and Avery and I came to the home farm. Our corn that we put in back in the spring, we've got one of the neighbors taking it out. We had some combine issues and whatnot, but Avery came in here yesterday and checked a camera that we got just across the catty corner across the creek here from us on a scrape. There's a ton of scrapes in here. There was quite a bit of daylight activity the last couple days. I think it was on the 6th, the 5th and 6th, and one of those deer was our number one target for this farm, Drifter. We talked a little bit about him in the summertime, and that's kind of the deer we put a bunch of food plots in for. The farmer had actually told us about the Big 8, seeing the Big 8, told us he seen a deer in here on a doe bedded in this corn, and it cut from this side. Here comes a doe crossing the field right now, right to us. There's seriously a doe.
You looking for him? I bet that's his doe, Aidan. Huh? She's running down that edge. She's probably gonna pop her right here.
Well, as I was saying before we got interrupted there, the farmer told us that he's seen a buck with a doe come from this where we're actually at right now and go over and head in that standing corn that they're shelling in right now. And the way he described the buck definitely sounds just like Drifter, which makes a lot of sense because we just had a picture of him here just a couple days ago. I seen that doe come across right from where he said that they went in at, and we believe that to be his doe. It could be just another doe, but we're hoping it's his, and maybe he'll come out of here. But we set this decoy out for Drifter just because with him being a mature deer and not exactly knowing where he might come in at, we figured it might give us a better chance to get him to come into bow range because he could easily avoid us by 150 yards, but if he sees that, it might give us a shot. We're going to sit in here and hopefully we'll lay eyes on him tonight. If not, maybe in the morning.
Rattle.
Right down the pipe, Aidan. Right down the pipe, right here. Keep on saying, You're gonna have to get to this side of the decoy for me to be able to shoot. You gotta do it. You gotta do it. Come on, you gotta do it. He's stumbling. He's going down right there. He's done.
Dude, I can see a crease in it. Like right behind the shoulder, about that far up from the point. You want me to try and put another one in him?
You can, yeah. Nope, get down, get down.
That wasn't touch low. Did he just go down? Did he just go down? Did he just go down?
Just went down.
No.
He's dead, dude. Dude, he's dead. Yes, man.
2 arrows to get that brute down.
2 heart shots to get him down.
I cannot believe this just happened. If you had told me that this was going to happen tonight, I'd have told you you were crazy. But one deer that we thought we would never, ever have an encounter with. When the farmer told us he was in here, what deer he said it was, I knew exactly what deer it was. It was Driftwood. I just happened to look up, the combine's cutting across the field to go unload into the semi. And I look up and he's coming right by him, right down the pipe, looking for that hot doe. He was searching these rows back and forth, back and forth. I'm ecstatic. This deer's a brute. That first shot, I couldn't have put it any better in the pump house. That just goes to show how a season can turn around like that. We went from having a terrible season trying to scratching and clawing for a mature buck.
And it just happens right there, decoyed him in.
And it just happens
Bristled
like that.
up, just absolutely.
It's ridiculous.
It's coated. Well, the stars aligned perfectly tonight. I'm sitting behind the buck we call Drifter. We believe him to be a 6.5-year-old deer. And for me to be able to even have this opportunity is crazy. We had our first picture of this deer 3 years ago right here in this cornfield, almost exactly where we were able to take the shot at him. And from there, everything just kind of escalated quickly. We had a bunch of pictures of him all the time, but it was just always after season, and we didn't know how we were going to be able to get an opportunity at this deer. And finally, last year in February, we had a real cold snap, and we had some turnips back behind the house, and he showed up, and it was like clockwork. And we knew then that that was our window of opportunity to be able to get an opportunity at this deer. We remodeled the farm basically and put a ton of food plots in only for this deer, just to have an opportunity at him. And we knew that if we had the food and it got cold enough, we would probably have an opportunity in late season. But with sweet November being as sweet as it is, it gave me an opportunity sooner than I expected. I have to thank the farmer for giving us the heads up that he was in here while he was shelling the corn. And so me and Avery came in here and did a hanging hunt and really had zero hopes of seeing him. But it was worth a shot. We really had no other leads. With that being said, man, we're just thankful to be a part of Meadows Whitetail, and for this to be our first full hunt on the show. We're ecstatic to be a part of it. And with that being said, thanks for tuning in to Meadows Whitetail. This is a rut in Iowa, November 7th.
stark contrast from our hunt this morning, but this was what we've been waiting for. If you're not getting time in the tree right now, I highly suggest you do, because at least right here, it seems to be on. This is what we wait all year for.
Sure enough, mature buck encounter number, who knows now? From what I can tell, just from quickly glassing him, look like he's a 6x5. Just a giant frame deer, looks like a stud.
November 8th paid dividends to nearly everyone on the team. Despite mediocre conditions, buck activity was high. As the saying goes, when the time is right, it's right. Deer that are otherwise ghosts make daylight appearances, as they cannot just stand on the sidelines and watch. Nature tells them that this party will not last long, and after the month's end, they must wait on the calendar to flip 11 more times before starting the run again. Hunters also know this to be true, and that is what pushes us to the point of sleep deprivation as we think tirelessly about our next move. A few hours of sleep, and we will get to try our hand again. This routine will not last as the days fly by. There's no time like the present, and there is no other experience like chasing November.